On this edition of Let's Talk Cincy.
I hope people recognize the experiences that a lot of these soldiers and sailors, Marines, everything they went through for their country.
Paying homage to greater Cincinnati citizens for their service to our country.
A lot of communities have done plaques that you can see like in their neighborhood. Even in Cincinnati, you'll see a memorial plaque that will list people who are lost. But I don't think anybody did on the scale that the Book of Homage was done, which is thousands of names. And we really did a lot of research to make sure that it was accurate.
From WLWT, this is the Emmy Award-winning show, Let's Talk Cincy. Presented by Western and Southern Financial Group. Put our financial strength behind you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Curtis Fuller, and welcome to Let's Talk Cincy. Here's what's coming up on the show today. A special book stands out among the millions of titles at the main library in downtown Cincinnati. It has no photos, no glossy cover. It is the Book of Homage, which contains thousands of names. The names of military men and women from Hamilton County, Ohio, who made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. The book was created in 1955 by library director Carl Vitz, who lost his own son in World War II, and Judge Robert Marks, a veteran who was wounded in World War I, and later founded the Disabled American Veterans Organization in 1920. No effort was spared to make the book worthy of the names. Each page was printed with great care, then hand-stitched together and bounded with imported Morocco leather. The volume features 2,716 names, divided into 3 separate sections: those lost in World War I, World War II, and the Korean War. Each section is in alphabetical order with the branch of service and rank given for each name. The book was dedicated with a special ceremony at the main library on November 11, 1955, Veterans Day. The names in this book were ordinary citizens from Cincinnati neighborhoods who served under extraordinary circumstances. Behind each name is a story. There's Ella Masher, an American nurse from Hyde Park, who treated wounded soldiers despite suffering from stomach cancer. She died on November 11th, 1918, the last day of the war. She is buried in the Saint-Mihiel American Cemetery in France. Under the World War II section are names of Donald and Kenneth Keniston, 2 brothers from the West End who served in the Navy. They were killed during the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. Both were stationed on the battleship USS Arizona. William Ball from Harrison was a Marine who became a Korean War Medal of Honor recipient when he saved his comrades from injury and death when he jumped on a hand grenade the enemy had tossed into his truck in November 1950. He died shortly afterwards from severe wounds. Each name in the Book of Homage represents a painful loss, not only to families and friends, but to the communities of Cincinnati. This book serves as memorial to all those from Hamilton County who, while in the armed forces, gave life itself for God and country.
The library has been dedicated to serving veterans, and we have this ceremony we've been doing since the 1950s, and it's something we do every year. The library has always recognized the importance of veterans to the community, and we were dedicated as a memorial library in 1955. I grew up in a Navy town. I grew up in Norfolk, Virginia. My dad was in the Navy. He was a career Navy guy, and so. but certainly there were times, especially after the Vietnam War, I think it was difficult for military people to be kind of recognized for their service. And I think that has really changed, particularly in the last 20 years. I think people do much more of an effort to do that kind of recognition. And certainly the library, we feel that's important, and that's why we have our big Veterans ceremony here every year.
In 1974, the Public Library announced it would compile a list of Hamilton County citizens lost in the Vietnam War. In 2011, the Public Library created a second volume which honored those killed in action during the wars in Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, Iraq, and Afghanistan. President Barack Obama wrote the introduction to the second volume, More Names with More Stories. Clyde Reed Jr., an airman in the U.S. Air Force from Walnut Hills, was killed at age 19 in April 1967 when the Chi Li airfield was attacked by the Viet Cong. Kenneth Hume, a Navy pilot from Coleraine, was killed in March 1965 while leading a mission off the coast of Vietnam. His body was never recovered. He received the Distinguished Flying Cross posthumously for heroism. Under Operation Desert Storm are two names. Specialist Robert A. Noonan from Forest Park. He was a member of the Army's 82nd Airborne Division. He was killed at age 21 in September 1990 during an off-road vehicle accident in the Persian Gulf. And Jonathan R. Edwards from Terrace Park, a captain in the Marine Corps, who was killed in a Cobra helicopter crash in February 1991. Christopher J. Dyer from Evendale was a Lance Corporal with the 25th Marine Regiment when he was killed in August 2005 at 19 years old in the deadliest roadside bombing of U.S. troops in Iraq. Tyler B. Swisher of Marymount was a captain with the 2nd Marine Division when his vehicle was struck by an IED in Iraq. He was buried in Arlington National Cemetery in October 2005. In the Afghanistan War section are more names. Army Specialist Donald Scott Morrison, age 23, of Blue Ash, died in September 2010 of wounds suffered when insurgents attacked his military vehicle with a roadside bomb in Afghanistan. These special artifacts can now be visited on the 2nd floor as part of Veterans Memorial Wall, which pays tribute to all armed forces personnel from the Cincinnati area who have served their nation with honor.
Well, I hope people recognize the experiences that a lot of these soldiers and sailors, Marines, everything they went through for their country. That's what we try to hammer home or whatever is we want people to, the sacrifices that these guys did for their country. The library's been always very dedicated to having a memorial wall, and this is our latest version of it. This is our 4th version of the memorial wall, and it gets bigger every time we've done it. This particular version of it opened in 2024 when the library reopened in the South Building. We did a whole rehab of the South Building. So we're always encourage people to come here. We have a digital library that they can explore a lot of the interviews that the library has done for veterans, the Veterans History Project. We have 700 interviews, so we encourage people to view those interviews to get a better sense of people and their experiences they've gone through while being in the military.
I think it's important that we honor our veterans. The Book of Homage does a great job, I think, in identifying those who have sacrificed for this country. Our Constitution gives the people the power to declare war. If you look at our history, we have gotten into entanglements in other countries, and people are asked to give up their young people to go off and fight. When you think about Vietnam, when you think about Korea, those were undeclared conflicts. Thousands of Americans have died. And so in that aspect, we have to remember those those young men and women who went off and fought for this country. We're the greatest country on the face of the earth today, and so when we're talking about defending liberty and democracy and those who sacrifice and who raise the right hand and says, I will defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, we need to remember those sacrifices, those people, and what they have done for us, because none of those situations in our history, in American history, when we talk about warfare, were good things. They were bad things. Bad things happen in the war. People die, and people bring home what they experience, and some of them can get through it, and others don't. Our country's history has some dark patches, some very long dark patches. It's significant to me because my grandfather's younger brother was a Tuskegee Airman. He was killed in flying over Germany on strategic missions, attacking the railhead at Waldorf, Germany. He went down there and crashed there. He's currently buried in France. When you look at the Tuskegee Airmen and what they've went through, they were on the forefront of the civil rights movement. You can check the activities of veterans, especially African American veterans, after they come back from war. They were always involved in civil rights and justice. The Tulsa Massacre, the gentlemen, the African Americans who responded to them were veterans, okay, defending their community from an onslaught. And so when we talk about the Tuskegee experiments with the Tuskegee Airmen, they prove that regardless of the color of your skin, we should all be treated fairly, and that they were capable of doing things that society didn't want to think they could do because of race. I think of all the institutions in America, the military is probably the highest regarded because of the sacrifice that is made, and because of standards and codes of conduct that we often don't see in other institutions, whether it's banking or even in our Congress. So I think the military is probably the most regarded institution in America.
I think it's important to remember our past and our past service members that have served, and the sacrifices they've made to keep all our freedoms available so we can do what we do and continue on and improve upon that. I think most citizens see our military in a positive light. Unlike the unwarm welcome, I guess, our Vietnam vets got when they came back. That was not my experience when I came back from Iraq and Afghanistan, third world countries, defending our nation. But I think that we could remember our past. We could do more events like these in the library, in our schools, so that people remember the past. Because if we don't remember our past, we are doomed to repeat it.
The first tour in Vietnam, I came back home. I was a crew chief on a helicopter and for a year in Vietnam. I came back and I went to Fort Rucker, Alabama, and teaching the main rotor head of the UH-1B and D model helicopters. As I was teaching, I applied for Officers Candidate School. I was a specialist E5, and I applied for Officers Candidate School, and I got accepted to got accepted as a artillery officer, and graduated as a second lieutenant. From the second lieutenant, I made first lieutenant in Turkey. From Turkey, I went to Germany. I made captain in Germany, and 4 months later, I was back in Vietnam as an armored cav commander. I was commanding officer of F Troop 17th Cav 196 Light Infantry.
I'm an Air Force vet. I come from a family of veterans, all the way back from World War I. And so it's important that we recognize the importance of military service. I have a niece that's active duty currently now, and for young people to understand that it is an honor to serve, and that it provides opportunities that you may have never known. I've met people I would have never met if I hadn't joined the military. I've been places I would have never seen if I hadn't joined the military. And I've learned skills that I probably would have never obtained if it wasn't for the military. It enabled me to get my education, to pay for my education without debt. And so there's a lot of great things that come from serving in the military as well. I hope our nation recognizes the sacrifice that military members make. They're separated from their families for long durations. They're willing to go anywhere in the world that they're deployed to defend our freedoms. And so I think that's really important. I think what we owe active duty members and veterans is good transition services. Sometimes people coming back from serving, particularly in war, they're not the same as they were when they left. And it's up to us to make sure that they have the mental health resources that they need, that they have transition support so that they can find jobs, that they have housing. We shouldn't have unhoused military individuals. And so we owe them everything. There's about 2 million active duty service members at any one time. There's 330 million people living in this country. And so it's such a small percentage of those who are willing to serve and sacrifice and die for their country. And so we need to make sure that we take care of them when they return.
Congratulations to Dr. Charles Dillard, honored as one of the newest members to be inducted into the Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame.
I've been around military people most of my life.
Dr. Dillard served in the Air Force and then spent nearly a quarter century serving in the reserves. He became one of the first African-American medical officers in the country to attain the rank of Brigadier General. Dr. Dillard serves as a medical missionary here in Cincinnati and around the world.
While in the military, we did a lot of medical teams into Argentina and Haiti and Cuba and so forth. And I continued doing that after I got out of the military, and I'm still involved in that.
Congratulations again to General Dr. Charles Dillard.
My uncles went to World War II back in the 40s. So my first uncle, Clyde, James Clyde the first, he died at the Merchant Marines at sea. And my other uncle, he was in the Army, and my father was in the Merchant Marines also. Legacy, it keeps us chained together from the first and second generation to the third generation, so that we have served our country admirably and with honor. Well, when I went in, I had to get in as right almost at the end of the draft, and my father asked me to, what you want to do? And I said, well, I don't want to go in as a grunt, you know. He said, well, go down and sign up what you want on memorial activities and get what you want. So I did, and I went over to school after I got my license and became a memorial activity specialist. With that, I was able to take care of the deceased over in Vietnam and make sure they got back for their funerals and honors here in Cincinnati and the United States. With that, I wanted to continue the legacy of honoring our veterans by the military service that I provided for myself and for the United States of America. There's 4 children, 3 boys and 1 girl. Theresa didn't go, but my older brother, he went in after he got out of the Ohio State as a lieutenant, first lieutenant, and then made captain, and he was in the artillery. So he was blew up things over in Vietnam, and my middle brother, he went in as the 82nd and 101st Airborne, and he was with the combat medics. So he was saving people that got injured or in the war. And then when I got my license to take care of the soldiers. It was in memorial activities. So when they passed, I made sure I picked up the dead and made sure they got down to Saigon and back to home, hopefully in one piece, what I could do. So we all three of us, we came back and we called ourselves the Band of Battle Brothers. That was very painful to know that we went over and fought for our freedom over here, that we were not recognized as heroes over here. And so what we did then was made it a pact, me and my brothers. We made a pact that every veteran coming through our portals at this funeral home, we were going to give them all the propers on the way out. It was horrible. I saw a lot of veterans when they came back from Vietnam, and they were taking off their uniform before they even got off the bus or the plane. They didn't want to be recognized because a lot of them had gotten thrown with tomatoes, eggs, and ridiculed for what we had done over there. And that was very harmful and very hurtful. What they can do today is to not only celebrate the veterans that are living, but honor those who have passed on before. All the pomp and circumstance can only go so far, and to recognize the families that are still here, that they served with that veteran too, and they should be honored also.
Well, that does it for the program today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Curtis Fuller. I'll see you next time for another edition of Let's Talk Cincy. Until then, have a good day and a better day tomorrow.
It is fitting that we honor those who returned to resume full, fruitful lives, contributing to their country, their state, and their hometown. And we must remember those who still live today with their sacrifice entwined with their daily lives. The history of this country is filled with wars and conflicts and police actions. At the beginning, our ancestors defeated the greatest military power of that time to found this country. Be proud of your son, daughter, husband, wife, father, brother, sister, because they sacrificed for you. They went and served. They honored you and your country. We are blessed to have such men and women. I am honored to have served with them.